Hey, Ricky.
Hey, Uza, it's Sambai Speaks time.
It is Happy New Year, everybody. It's
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah, our first show for the year, for the new year. And we're so excited because we have my bestie on our show today.
Yes, I can't believe, well, she's not a Sambai partner per se, but in her work, and she's my work mom, my sister, my friend, all the things. Um, so it's just funny that she hasn't been on this show yet. She's been on so many of our shows, but welcome, Val.
You.
Welcome back. Welcome, Val. You know, Val is our co-founder for Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Alliance. And she birthed this idea with us. And here we are 5.5 years later. Isn't that crazy, Val?
It's
But
crazy.
and we're so blessed to be part of Sambai and even bring you into this conversation of this amazing global research study that we are doing
Mm.
with Dr. Melissa Davis, Morehouse School of Medicine. But we need to talk about this today because we're starting to recruit patients. And what does every research study require?
Informed
And
consent.
informed consent. And so
Yeah.
we felt like, guys, you are the best person to explain this thing. But you know what? I think we should start with who are you? Give
Yeah.
us, give our audience a snapshot because, everyone on our Doctors In show knows you, but this is our new audience, and we hope, we really, have all these great partners in Africa, on the continent, in London, and so we want them to know you too.
Oh, great. So I'm just so pleased to be here. I am Valarie Worthy. I am a 27, this year will be 27 years,
Wow.
a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed at 40. And when I was diagnosed, I was just a scared African American nurse that knew nothing about cancer. And honestly, I thought I was going to die because I didn't know anybody that was living with breast cancer. But I lived. And because of that, I just want to give back and not have people have the same fears and anticipations that I had. And so it's just a joy to work with you, Ricky, and Uza and do this wonderful work. And then the work that Dr. Melissa's doing. I mean, I'm just so excited to be here and any part that I can play in helping not only the United States, but the nation, the world, become more equipped and armed to fight cancer. That's where I want to be.
That's awesome. Awesome. How long have you been a nurse, Val? Like,
Oh gosh, I've been a nurse for 40, this year will be 44 years.
wow. You
Yeah,
started when you were a baby, of course.
I did. Out of my mom's womb, I was already
You started
hence
helping
being 50
people.
years old now. No, I'm just joking.
It's okay. I'm still older. It's okay. We're old ladies, but we're getting it done. We're getting it done. But yeah, but I think, your experience with patients is invaluable. There's nothing like, you know, my best relationship in my cancer experience is with my chemo nurse,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Val,
know?
that makes me curious to think like, what is a patient story or experience that keeps you going in this work now?
Yeah.
I think meeting patients that, for example, at the age of 65, that's never had any type of screenings at all, from a
Mhm.
PAP to a mammogram.
Yeah.
And all the work that not only we do, but people all across the world are doing. And someone gets to 65 and not have ever had a mammogram. So then that brings me back to just the beginnings of this advocacy. How did we miss that person? Where
Yeah.
were they that they didn't
Mhm.
hear this? This clarion call of you need to get a mammogram, you need to have screenings, all of those types of things. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a real story that happened last week. It's so crazy that this woman
Mm.
just has never gone to the doctor for any kind of screening. And
Yeah.
and yeah, how did we miss her? How did the system miss her? How did
Mhm.
she lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, a big city with great health care. And she you know, didn't do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so, but I mean, thank God we found a path to her to reach out to us so we can help her. And Val's been helping her figure out how to navigate
Mhm.
this cancer thing. Um, but how many women are like her in the world? How many
Right.
men are doing the same thing with prostate? And then
Yes.
pancreatic, we know that just shucks. craziness out of people because
Yeah,
it just happens and you don't really have any symptoms, right? You have a backache, whatever. So,
that's right.
I mean, there's such a need for care all over the world, and we think that in America, things are, we have more access. I don't know, you know,
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. Yeah,
And we know it's not happening across the world equitably,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
one of the things we've been working on with the Breast Cancer Quality Index project we've been doing,
Hmm.
to have this global standard of care for everybody in the world to have measure up against. But, that's going to take eons to implement, right?
It is. And I
Yeah,
think the scariest thing for me is that probably 14% of all the cancers have a screening attached to it. So think about all the remaining cancers that there's no screening.
Mm,
right.
So, we have to do a lot of education. That means we have to get out into the communities, as my grandmother used to say, the highways and byways, and really have these conversations with people because they're not coming to, you know, conferences or to their doctor's offices to have these conversations. So it's up to us, the people, to go out and talk to them about everything.
Everything. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I think it was Dr. Clayton or Dr. Keith. I can't remember. Somebody in the prostate cancer field that we work with basically was saying how, once the man leaves college or leaves their mother, they don't go to the doctor because they don't have to, right? So all through childhood, their mother's taking them to the pediatrician. Then they leave home either to go to college. If they go to college and play a sport, then they're with the doctor. But if they don't, and then once they graduate from college, they don't go to a doctor for nothing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then so that a whole mistrust thing is in place, but also not feeling a need to go. And
Right.
so we're
Absolutely. I
seeing
mean,
all these men, yeah, get
yes.
diagnosed with late stage prostate because they just don't go.
Right.
yeah.
And honestly, as I hear you talking, Ricky, it's almost as if men treat themselves like they do a car. If they don't hear a sound or noise, if it's
Right, right,
squeaking,
right,
they don't get the attention.
right,
And
right.
and women are like maintenance type
Right, get the
beings. And
oil. We
so,
get the oil change. Yeah, we
yeah,
have to go. But think about it. Young women, a lot of their doctor visits are for birth control,
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
right? Right.
I was even thinking that when you mentioned college, I think overall for men and women, there's a big gap in medical care. I think about when I
Mm,
was in college and coming out. I mean, you just felt like there was no time to see the doctor.
right.
And then coming out of college and hitting that age where your parents' insurance stops, that's
Yeah.
also a time that people kind of fall behind on their medical care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
you
remember
feel
when
healthy and everything's okay. And
everything's
Yep.
so,
okay until you have a problem, and then probably a woman goes because she gets pregnant, right? And then
right.
takes her
Yep.
back
Exactly.
to the system, right? But maybe some women don't even touch that.
Right.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's crazy to how the health system even works.
Yeah.
And then we see that happening in, what's going on in Ghana and Nigeria and Kenya, where, they have a lot of, I mean, a few of those countries have like healthcare available, but still
Mhm.
it's almost like you have to get sick. And one of the things I learned from Dr. Beatrice was that, when a woman feels a lump in her breast, there's no pain associated with it. And
Yeah.
so they say, oh, it's not a big deal. I have no pain. And then by the time there's pain, oh my God, they're metastatic. It's all through their
Yeah.
bodies. And now they're stage 4. So
Right.
what does that even look like? Do you know that, what that little thing means, or what the signals are for when you
Hmm.
go get
Hmm.
care? Pretty scary.
Scary.
But all of us are gonna die from something.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be cancer.
It
It
shouldn't be
shouldn't be,
cancer.
it shouldn't be breast cancer. It shouldn't be prostate cancer. And it shouldn't be pancreatic cancer. I mean, that's a tough one, but
Right.
I mean, we should all be able to live our best lives because we are getting the care we need and deserve.
Yeah. And because we're informed,
And we're
we
born.
know. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say is I think we say this in every episode in some way that Sambai, this study is going to help us be more informed and take care of ourselves better than we ever have before, hopefully.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
for generations to come.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It
And hopefully
is.
people will take away from this not only the immediate research that we're doing, but we'll put some standards in place.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ultimately, I think our sort of year 5 of the 5-year project, we're going to start year 3 in a couple of months, but it's to set policy.
Yeah.
And that's where maybe this
Great.
breast cancer quality index
Yeah.
will play a role. But how should governments be thinking about
Yeah.
these cancers differently to get people screened? I think even we had a conversation even with Dr. Keith, who's about how a lot of times doctors don't want to even screen for prostate cancer because they don't have an appropriate treatment.
Right.
But like, what? Like, how does that work? Right? How does
Mhm.
that work?
It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
it's
But
crazy.
let's get into informed consent.
Yeah.
Val, so you have experience with that. Obviously, our standby study is going to look a bit different for patients, but how would you or how have you explained informed consent to your patients?
I remember years ago when I was a part of a community organization and their focus was clinical trials. And one of the things that they talked about was the informed consent. And I remember someone saying, and I thought this was so cute, but it was really true, that an informed consent is like a bikini. You need it to be short enough to be interesting and long enough to cover cover the subject, if you know what I mean.
I love that.
That,
That's
yeah.
great. That's great.
So,
Yeah, because I've seen these like they give you like a book.
Yeah,
yes,
Read
yeah.
all this and sign it today in the next 5 minutes to get into a clinical trial. And how you can't even read. And actually, it starts like the first page is kind of like those drug commercials where they talk about, oh, we're going to cure your diabetes, whatever, but then you're going to die, you're going to get your head's going to fall off, your whatever, your body's going to collapse. All the side effects are like, 50 of the
so
60
scary.
seconds. Yeah, like you
Yeah,
can't get there. But I've seen and people like they turn away. They
they
go.
do because it's so
Oh,
frightening. Like just
overwhelming.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
big words. But when you think about it, informed consent, it really is the paper that gives the person that's considering the trial or the study, it gives them the full understanding of what is being offered before they agree to do it. And it's just not just signing a paper, and it is a conversation. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes what we don't always see. We see the person on the other side explaining everything. And I've been in rooms where you just see someone nodding their heads. So are they really informed? And if you leave that room and you cannot explain to your family, which you'll have to defend your decision in some cases. If you can't do that, then you're not an informed person. And then
Yeah.
you sign something that you really don't fully know and you can't fully defend. And so I ask my patients to ask questions, which is difficult because they feel somewhat intimidated. And then
Yeah.
some of the big words,
Of
they
course.
can't
Yeah.
even pronounce them to ask what they mean. And
Right.
so
So
I
how are you
think
supposed
the
to
owner
pronounce
still is part
Yeah.
of, the provider to explain these things. And I almost explain it as if you're talking to someone with a sixth grade level or less understanding.
I say, talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
Break it down for me. Break it down. But it really, the intention of it is to protect the patient,
right.
to make them understand what they're up
Yeah,
against, what they're engaging in. But it's so like overwhelming and
yeah. And
burdensome.
like you said, Ricky, it should protect their body, it should protect their health, and it should protect your voice. This is what
Right.
you say you want, you need, and you should know when you leave there are several take-home messages that you should have when you
Yeah.
leave there. And it
Yeah.
shouldn't
Right.
be any question. You should know what the study is about. I mean, how could you sign something and say, well, what is this really about? Because again, people think they're taking a sugar pill. Is that what you just got from all of the
Right.
pages of
Right.
information? And what's going to happen to them? I'm on this study. What's going to happen? What are the risks that are associated to it? Are there benefits to me? Or what is the benefit for me even taking it? Are there other options? So when I'm taking this, is there an option that's better, or are you testing, is this better than the standard? And for a lot of people, how much is it going to cost?
Mhm.
Healthcare is expensive. So if this is going to be added cost, it's going to be extra travel time, or does it mean I have to stay in a hotel? Then that's added cost
Yeah.
that the
That becomes a
patient shouldn't
barrier.
have. Right,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
And
Right.
then people are very, very concerned about, how's my privacy protected?
Mm,
Like, are you going to take this and say, well, Valarie did this when she was on this study, or this? People really wanted to know because there's so many things now that's really trying to fringe on our privacy, that people are really concerned about that.
Yeah.
And
And I
so,
know people are concerned about their privacy too, because it could affect their jobs. Like
yes,
if the world knows I have this cancer,
right. Or
am I
this
going to be able to,
gene,
right, or
you
this
know.
gene, right, right,
So then, maybe your employer would say, well, that gene means you might get cancer at some point. And so then look at all the
mhm,
money that we may have to dish out, or your insurance companies. I mean, things are so
right,
crazy these days.
Mm.
So all of those things, you want to, as a patient, you want to ask these questions, because I don't care whether it's a trial or not, you're not doing this alone. So you're not always driving yourself to these
right,
treatments.
right,
And, when
right,
you have to negotiate between paying the cost of travel or paying a bill, a household bill, how do you maneuver that? That's why it is a family conversation. And that's
yeah,
why you have to be armed with the words to say to your family so that you can defend your decision. And oftentimes, patients go home and they say, "Oh, I've decided to be on this trial." And then they get bombarded with all the questions. And
right,
of course, Tuskegee comes up,
right, right, or
and
some kind of
and
misuse. Yeah,
yes. And so next thing you know, the cancer center is getting a call. Well, I changed my mind.
yeah,
And when you say you changed your mind, that's it. They can't say, oh no, reconsider. No, if they say you change your mind, that's it. You can't try to
you can't
coerce
try to
them into
sell it. You
changing their
can't try to
mind.
sell it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
So, the Sambai study is a little different because we're not giving a drug. So
Right.
on one hand, that's sort of the good news and the bad news,
Yes.
because we need to take your blood. Can we have a little piece, a little blood from your draw that you're probably getting anyway because you just got diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
But we're not going to be able to give you something for that cancer.
Right.
This is a long-term biological study. So
Hmm.
we don't know what that's going to look like in a few
Right.
years. You know what I mean? And hopefully we're going to make some incredible
Hmm.
findings, which are starting to happen now as we look at this what we're doing. Um, but can we take some of this from you, and here's sort of
Yeah.
what the big picture looks like, and we can explain the study. And Uz has done a really great job, explaining
Right.
how Sambai works and what we're actually doing. And we have, we're gonna have lots of information to give people to
Hmm.
explain the different work packages and what we're
Yeah.
looking at. But at the end of the day, it's not going to help them right now with their
Right.
cancer, but
And
it's going
and
to
I
help
think
build a legacy for the future,
right.
Yeah.
And I think people are okay with that if we
Yeah.
say like the why.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is this is why they need this. And we oftentimes talk about the when we try video when I say for your children and your
Your
children's children.
children still, and you
This
make
is the
people cry,
why.
and you
It
make
Yeah.
people
gets me
cry.
it gets me every time I have
Yeah.
children.
But it is, that's a good answer. It's for your children and for your children's children.
Yeah.
It is.
Because
And that's what this is about. That's what this is about.
yeah,
It's
it
about
is
for your
really.
children that when, no one has ever done a disparity study like what we're doing. No one.
Yeah.
It doesn't
No.
exist. And so Melissa's brainiac,
Uh-huh.
brilliance, has basically saying, what happens if, and we have all these brilliant scientists who have
Hmm.
researched before, like, what happens if you look at the genetics? What happens
Hmm.
if you look at the social determinants of health? What happens differently if you look at the exposomics, the environment, if
Hmm.
or Flint, Michigan, right? What happens if you look at the genomics, the science of the breast of the cell? But no one's put all these pieces together. And that's
Right.
what the outcome of the study is going to be, is like take all these factors that are impacting cancer disparities. And what if we build this big picture? I feel like, I would say to the team, take a step up the ladder. Like,
Yes.
so take a step up the ladder. We're climbing that ladder to see
Mhm.
what does this big picture landscape look like
Mhm.
when you put all these things together and see what happens with these
Yes.
cases, you know?
And it does really help explain the why. So one thing and I've never been on a clinical trial, but I have taken medicine, and we all have, as a result of a clinical trial. So when I took a medication and my tongue turned dark, I went to my oncologist and I said, "What is happening here? Is this a result of the cancer or what?" And he said, "No, it's not the cancer coming back." He said there were not enough African American women
In that
on
study.
this trial. And
Mm.
so if there had been representative numbers, I could have said, well, this happens to African American women because of XYZ. And so this study, what you guys are doing, will help inform
Right,
our oncologists, and they can
right, right,
answer the why.
right,
No,
right,
and
right.
that means a lot to those of us that have gone through it and are yet to go through it. Now we have a why, as opposed to 25 years ago, all the oncologists say, well, I don't exactly know, but I know it wasn't enough representative minorities in this trial. So
Yeah,
it means so much,
yeah,
to so many to be a part of
yeah,
this. And I think for people, and having been a home health nurse where I would go out to homes and draw blood, people hate needles. So I think that
right,
we'll
right,
have to
right,
talk about, you know, yeah, there's a needle involved, but it doesn't have to be a really big one,
right,
and we only want a certain amount of
right, right,
blood and
right, a little bit of
all
blood.
those little things that help kind of, hopefully dissipate some of the fear.
Yeah,
It's something about a needle that people are really, I don't mind, giving somebody a shot of draw blood. I hate, getting blood drawn. And
right.
I don't
We
even
all.
look at it myself,
I
but
know. I just turn my head.
yeah,
I put my headphones on and turn my head. But you know what though? The thing is, the patients that we're recruiting, and if you are interested in doing this with us, are just our newly diagnosed cancer
great.
patients. So
Yeah.
they're going to take your blood anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to
Yeah.
take a lot of it. They're going to be taking it every week. You better get with the program. I have like one
Yeah.
thing that works. And if you have breast cancer, if you have lymph nodes, you got to have it out of one arm. And
That's
they're
right.
they're going to take the blood anyway. So just
Yeah.
give us a little bit, and let's change the world with your little,
Yes.
right?
It
Is how we're
literally
looking
would
at it.
change the world.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Absolutely.
then to be able to tell your family and friends how you played a pivotal part in
right.
helping
In
science.
science, in
Yeah.
science, in science,
Yeah.
it's our tagline. We are the science we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And let this team of amazing Black woman-led and survivor-led
Hmm.
patient advocacy group change the world and talk about how we are changing science. It's going to be
Yeah.
amazing when we sort of, and it's a 5-year study. It's probably going to be longer than that, but I think that we're doing something that's iconic. My
Yeah.
word iconic, it's up there, right? Do iconic
Yeah.
that will go down in history
It
as
will.
through a breakthrough study that really broke through some barriers of how we think about cancer in Black people across the
A-
world.
And just to bring all of us together, from different continents to
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
fight is just amazing.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
know we're making such great friends. We
Oh,
have we have such great friends. Uz and I are like in love with, our Kenya friends, our Ghana friends, and now we're about to go to Nigeria. But even our Nigerian friends that we have on Zoom, we can't wait to meet them in person because
Yeah. And I think that when we think about cancer and this whole fight, a positive way of thinking about it is that this wasn't meant to destroy us really, but to bring us together.
yeah,
And what other way would we really have come together but for a cancer?
yeah,
Unfortunately, it takes something like this, but I don't really believe that this was meant to destroy us or to take us out, but to bring us together and then make us stronger because the coming together will help us, to fight together.
we're
yeah,
together.
Yeah.
We're together.
Yeah,
yeah,
Absolutely.
because together we win. And that's what you guys are exemplifying every time you get together with people from all over the world. And
yeah.
that's like, could you imagine this when you guys were in high school that you'd be doing like this great work? It just blows
I
my mind.
can't even imagine from 3 years ago or 5 years ago we started
Right.
touch. That one day Melissa, who's been with me really since I was questioning triple negative in Black women, from that first study that
Yeah.
came out like in 2017, saying, gosh, Melissa, what's going on with Black people? And she was really one of the few people that would like hear me and listen and engage at that point. Because when I first started about Black breast cancer, we're like, you know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
And I get Melissa on the phone, Melissa, isn't this right? Isn't this true? So, when she called me one day out of the blue, said, can you help me with this little project? Just a little project. I'm like, sure, Melissa, anything. And like, here we are. We're like 2 weeks later, when I was writing this like massive document, I'm like, oh my goodness, what are we getting
Yeah.
into? But here we are, and it's blossomed into an amazing, joy-filled
Yeah.
Oh,
study
wow.
that we're learning so much every day. We're meeting so many people. And at the end of the day, when you meet somebody with cancer, it sucks having cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just got off the phone with a metastatic woman I had met at SABCS a couple weeks ago. And her cancer just advanced, and she's fighting a good fight. She's actually a legislator in Ohio, and she's passing all these great bills and getting all this, cancer support in Ohio. But she's, it happens, and and it catches you off guard. Whoever thought you were going to get cancer, but whoever thought we were now going to try to cure cancer. How cool is that?
Yeah.
How cool is
Mhm.
that?
Wow. That's
Absolutely.
amazing. But this is the work that we do. And
Yeah.
Ricky, you always call it our God job. I
It's our
think
God job.
it's
It's
our
our, and
purpose.
we made it Uza's God job too. Like,
Yeah. No, I've been like a lifelong
yeah,
caretaker and
yeah,
advocate, but now getting to do this work on
yeah,
another level is just a
Yes.
yeah.
blessing.
It's a
Yeah.
blessing. Yeah. I know it's hard to, I know we drive everybody crazy, but we got to figure it out. And, you
We
know,
do.
and it's going to take some more sleepless nights like
Yeah.
we had last night. It was all right. But I mean, but we're going to figure it out. And we have drivers and scientists and brain power that God brought to us. You
We're
know what I
bridging
mean?
Yeah.
so many gaps. That's what I love as
Yeah.
well. Like just the
Yeah.
way that advocacy and research and community are able to come together is just
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and I think for me, when I sit at the table with researchers and um, all of these people with a lot of letters behind their names,
Right.
initially I was kind of intimidated, but I just soon understood I come with a special talent,
You
just
do.
like
Yeah. We all
everybody
do.
else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so when we sit at these tables, um, and recognize that, then
Right.
our information is as important as whatever the letter holding
The letter
people's.
holders have. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that then allows you to speak authentically
Yeah.
and with your passion. Because sometimes, you think maybe I should harness some of this passion so they won't think it's just all,
It won't
because
go away. It won't go away.
yeah, but it won't. And that's what they need to see,
Yeah.
because some people are just the numbers and just the thing. But I think for
Yeah.
us to have had family members that have been impacted by this, or ourselves, we bring that passion
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
some other people don't bring. And it takes all of us around the table,
Yeah.
Yeah.
putting our 5 and 10 and 2 cents in to really
Yeah.
make this thing work.
Yeah.
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 We always love on Dr. Davis, but she truly did recognize the importance of advocacy
Yeah.
and she gave us a seat at the table.
She
Yeah.
really did.
So,
She really
And that
did.
didn't always used to happen.
No, and no other cancer grant challenge study has the level of involvement within patient advocacy. You know what I mean? Where we see it with our peers, and everybody's got patients on their teams. But I think that Melissa has allowed us to play such a role
yeah.
in the study and just the architecture of the study, the architecture of how we talk to patients, and
Yeah.
let us drive pieces of this to recruit. And so. So now here we are recruiting, and we have to get them to sign this form. So thank you so much for helping us
Yeah. You did a
explain
great-
that, because it is to protect people, but it's also intimidating. And I think ours, I don't know how many pages it is, Zusa, but it's a significant data and words and stuff. We don't, we'll try to help them work on the words a little bit. But then also once you sign up for the study, you're going to have to do a survey. And that survey is pretty intense. I mean, it's pretty easy answers, but it takes a minute.
Yeah.
So we know you're not feeling great. You're going to be sitting in your chemo chair, maybe doing this, but we're here to help you. But it's so important
Yeah.
to do this work with us. It's so important to have this patient perspective and this patient point of view, and bring this conversation to the table with the scientists. So
Yeah.
It's your ability to take control of
Right.
your own research. Like you are a partner
in the study. Yeah. That's such a great way to look at it. You're a partner. You're one of our partners. You're bringing this knowledge, that is so much needed to the scientific table.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Well,
it.
you did such a great job explaining to
Yeah.
Oh,
our
Thank
viewers informed consent. We knew you would, though. We knew
Oh, we
you
knew
were
you would. We knew you
yeah.
would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you,
This has
Val.
I
been,
hope they understood the bikini part though.
Yeah, I know they did.
I
It's
love
like,
it.
yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I
No,
love
that was perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I always say my David Ogilvy quotes. Forgive me for no. One of my quotes is, "Forgive me for writing the short letter I didn't have time to write. Forgive me for writing the long letter I didn't have time to write the short one." And so
Mhm.
we're trying to make the short letter out of the long thing. So
Yeah.
thank you, Val.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Val. This has been so great. Join us next month. We're going to be live from Nigeria, World
Live
Cancer
from
Day.
Nigeria on World Cancer Day. We'll be there and be
Well,
dancing, talking
oh
to our
yeah.
friends, and having fun and bringing the culture to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And our website will hopefully be launching also on World Cancer Day. So stay tuned and thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next month.
Yeah, we're the science we've been waiting for. Thanks,
Yes.
Val. Love you,
Thank
Val.
you.
Love you,
Bye-bye.
Val.
Thanks.